everybody, and welcome. I am so pleased to have Nicole Popper Katzender with us. She is a womb shaman, an embodiment and transformational teacher and mentor, trained in the ancient feminine healing arts. She is the creatrix of Womb Bliss and M. Rama Mystery School. Her work focuses on harmonizing ancestral and collective soul DNA to birth the new potential of love and Shakti on earth. Nicole is passionate about the power of nature and the embodiment of the primordial and cosmic wisdom in the body temple to catalyze the awakening of our full potential and original love bliss blueprint. Welcome to the summit, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be part of this beautiful summit.
Yes, and I know you are currently speaking from Egypt. Do you want to tell us quickly where you are?
Yes, I'm current in Cairo, in Maadi, a very nice neighborhood close to the Nile. Egypt is very dear to my heart, and it feels very auspicious to be talking about sacred pleasure, awakening your womb bliss from Egypt. So yeah, we just finished a very powerful pilgrimage, awakening the Magdalene. So we were traveling to through Egypt from Cairo all the way down to the Nubian lands in Aswan, and I just returned back to Cairo Monday morning. So yeah, it feels very auspicious to be speaking from here. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much for showing up and coming on board. And I would like to start by you introducing your work around the womb and why it is so important.
Wow. So the womb work, to me, on my personal journey, because it all comes down to our journey, right? So returning back to the sacred place of our womb is extremely important for what is unfolding right now in the planet. So remembering that we are sacred as women and our womb is the doorway where spirit comes to matter it's crucial. So I'm supporting women to remember and to awaken the wisdom that is already inside of them, of us, right? Inside of our DNA, and really longing to come online so we can really go through this rebirth individually and then collectively. So my womb journey started, let's call it consciously, back in 2011 when I had a session with a sister that we were participating in the same online course. And at the time I was living I was living in New York, so I was living in a lot of intensity, and I was very aggressive. Well, not very aggressive, but there was a lot of anger inside of me. And in this session, she mentioned to me, she didn't say womb, but she said, it's important for you to start releasing the emotions and the energies that you're holding in your sacral area. So start visualizing a golden light in your sacral area and releasing those emotions. And I feel like that was the first step for me to actually reconnect with my womb on a conscious way. And and that led me to a very powerful journey of awakening my bliss instinct, connecting with the energy centers in my body, with the glands in my body, and activating the bliss instinct within each gland. And of course, that was a beautiful but yet very challenging journey, because everything that was standing in the way and that time in my life that was not in alignment with my bliss was removed, so it was not so easy to to journey with. Yeah, so I'm supporting women and myself in this process of remembering. And this remembering, it's so deep, it's so ancient, but yet it's so hidden in society and within us. So yeah.
So it's reconnecting to the innate powers that we hold in this space, womb area, that is our holy crucible of creation, right? We create life, but we also have the potential to create anything else that we want to birth into the world through that sacred space. So what is the journey that you take women on?
So basically, we take a pilgrimage into the womb. We connect with different gates within the yoni and the womb. So we take a sacred pilgrimage, connecting with those gates and releasing emotions and frequencies, memories from this life, other lives, ancestors that we are holding in the gates. So for me, it's very clear that my path, it's also about sacred pleasure and awakening this bliss instinct that it is our birthright as human beings, not only as women, but my teacher, my mentor and teacher, Saren Bertrand, used to say that beauty and pleasure, it's going to heal the world. And I have to agree with that. So the aim is to really connect with this bliss instinct that resides within the center of our womb, that connects us with the cosmic womb that has birthed all in creation, and the womb of Gaia. So returning to this instinctual and visceral wisdom. So we are very often in the mind, right? So we are living in the mind, and descending down to the womb brings us into this womb consciousness that I find it often hard to really put in words. What is it? You know, you must experience in order to have your own impressions. And you know, it feels to me that the feminine dimension, to me, it's hard to express in words, you know. So it's but we go into the space where everything can be rebirthed and transformed. And as you said, the womb is this creative space, not only to create babies, but to birth anything into reality. So we can see that many women nowadays are experiencing a variety of problems within their womb and yoni. And quite often it's because the energy is not flowing down, because we are constantly connected to here, you know, sometimes here as well, the heart and the mind, and focusing with our connection to the cosmos and spirit, but yet we are here in the flesh, in the body, in the earth. And when we start to descend, you know, to the pelvis, to the womb, to the yoni, you know, and to the earth, connecting with Gaia, rooting into her soil, and embracing the fact that we are in the body, and it's through the body that the ascension or the rebirth takes place. I get carried away, so I'm not sure if I'm answering the questions directly, but yeah, I'm supporting women to remember that we are sacred. Remember that our menstrual blood is sacred. Remember that pleasure is sacred, and you know, and then everything that comes with that.
Right. Yes, I totally resonate to everything you say. I also found it in my own journey, that connection to Mother Earth, and we are the elements. We are made from the water and the earth and the air um, and the fire, which is our fire of digestion and fire of passions and desires.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are part of this co-creation, and to tap into that, into this body that carries all this wisdom, it's really for me the first foundational step. And I would like you to talk more about the different gateways that you mentioned.
Yes. So there are 8 grill gates. This is according to womb shamanism that I've learned with Saren and Azra Bertrand. Um, so we start with the yoni. So the first gate will be the clitoris, the lips, and the entrance of the yoni. And then the second grill gate is the G-spot. And then the third grill gate is the cervix, so the gatekeeper. And then we enter the womb. So on the bottom of the womb, we have the element of earth. On the right ovary, we have fire. On the roof of the womb, we have air. And on the left ovary, we have water. And then on the center of the womb, we have the cosmic womb. So what I personally experience as the 0 point. So the Merkaba, to me, the Merkaba is taking place in the womb. So it's from the womb where the Merkaba can be activated, let's say. And it's on this 8th grill gate in the cosmic womb where we are connected, where the bliss instinct of the womb is, and where we, the womb bliss, and where connects us with the cosmic womb and the womb of Mother Earth. And then, in fact, with all the wombs, right? So because we are all connected as humans, but as women, we are also connected. So personally, if I might not had experienced sexual abuse, certainly someone from my lineage have. And let's say, which is impossible, that someone has not, I'm still connected to this womb field with every woman. And I just want to bring it up, that I'm speaking from Egypt right now, and Egypt is one of the biggest countries where female genital mutilation, it's very strong. If anyone is not familiar with it, it's where they circumcise women. So they cut sometimes a piece of the clitoris, sometimes they remove the entire clitoris and the lips. So there's 3 different types of female genital mutilation. And the sad part is that from what I've heard from people that I speak here, I come often to Egypt and I work here with Egyptian women as well. Often is the women, so is the mothers or grandmothers that are perpetuating this practice. So sometimes the father, or the man of the house doesn't want to do that because, it's not written in the Quran. It's not a religious thing. It's a cultural thing that comes back from a bad past, let's put it like that. But as we know, we're often repeating what was done to us in an unconscious way. So this is repeating, and it's perpetuated by women, by mothers. So yeah.
Oh, this is very disturbing. So it's just a good moment to just take a deep breath, because for me, it really hits me in the body. The clitoris is, it's our gift from the gods. It's got 8,000 and more nerve endings that dedicated only for pleasure. And somewhere along the line of the patriarchal lineage and society, we have been turning away from pleasure, and this is against the human nature. We are hardwired for pleasure, and through pleasure we connect to the divine. This is our most direct, intimate, available gateway. So it's very disturbing to hear that it's still happening in our current age. And yeah, certainly I would like to see us rising beyond that shame. I think it all comes from shaming the body and shaming sexuality and shaming pleasure.
Yeah. Yes, and the first gate, so the clitoris, the lips, and the entrance of the yoni is it's related to the maiden archetype. So is that pure, innocent, you know, that full yes to life. So when that is removed, you're removing the innocent, you know, the primordial innocence of sexuality. As you said, it's sexuality is sacred, and it is the gateway. It is one of the gateways to commune with the divine. This is why I chose this topic, you know, sacred pleasure, awakening your womb bliss, because for the past couple years, I've been directly receiving a lot of transmissions from Great Mother by communing with her through self-pleasure and through my connection with my beloved. And, you know, and I feel that this is something that we need to reclaim as, you know, and it's like, it's a gentle process, and it happens in your own timing. So every woman have their timing, you know, to reconnect. But it's so important that we look at our yonis, you know, and we acknowledge that it is a gateway. It is a sacred passageway. And sometimes, you know, when I talk to people, or, you know, quite often it's not even people in the field, you know, like people that maybe ask what I do, and then we start the conversation. We all came from the womb. This is how we come into matter. And well, if we had a natural birth, we also came through the yoni, because it's the passageway. So us as women, we have been conditioned, we can say through patriarchy, religion, or whatever it is, because actually to me, that does not matter anymore. I don't care about the conditionings or whatever. What I care is what we can do about that, which is to reclaim, to restore, you know, and to remember that our yoni is a sacred passageway. It is beautiful, you know, and quite often when I speak with women, how often a woman looks at her yoni with devotion, you know, and see as like, it's a beautiful thing, you know, it's the beauty of the yoni. So I feel that in order for us to really heal this wasteland of sexual distortion, we must return back to the womb and return back to the yoni, and start a practice of perhaps yoni gazing, or perhaps befriending your womb and your yoni, you know. And of course, I'm not here to say that it's all about blissful experiences, because the truth is that bliss exists even when you are struggling, even when you are grieving, even when you're in your darkest place. Bliss is still present, you know. And as women, we are cyclical beings, so we cannot expect that it's going to be only roses, you know. I mean, even the rose itself has thorns, you know. So but the moment that we drop down into the womb and we start to build this relationship with our sacred womb on a daily basis, which can be like a minute or 5 minutes of your time, to just close your eyes and breathe into your womb space and drop your awareness there, connect with your yoni, perhaps starting a practice of looking at your yoni and acknowledging that she's there, you know. And then in your own timing, you can then practice with the grail gate or with self-pleasure, but just connecting with her, with breath, yoni and womb, with the breath, with awareness, can bring a lot of changes, you know. And indeed, the womb will magnetize what you need the moment you connect with her. Because we, most of us, and most of the women that I work with, they mention, yeah, you know, I remember that I always used to put my hands, you know, in my womb and my pubic bone. I remember myself as a young teenager or even younger, I loved to have my hand right there in the pubic bone, you know, and resting there. But I was not conscious of what I was doing. So when we add the conscious connection, really something really powerful happened. And because it's funny, but every time women reconnects or awaken in a level, to her womb, that's weaved in the fabric of reality. So I could see from the past 5-6 years that more and more it's awakening. More and more women are offering womb work or feminine work, and so we are reweaving this feminine threads back in the fabric of reality. So let's say 6 years ago, maybe will be, let's call, a little bit more difficult to connect, but now there's so much available. There's so much present already in this womb field through all the women that are remembering, reconnecting, restoring the sacred pleasure and feminine wisdom, that you can maybe in a first time that you're consciously connecting with your womb, you might feel warmth there, you might feel movement, you might see things, and quite fast you can magnetize whatever you need in order to support your own journey of remembering.
I love when you said how all the wombs are connected, and I just want to share that when I was younger and I was serving in the army, I slept with 8 women in one room, and very soon after we all came together, it took maybe 2 or 3 months to adjust, but we all started bleeding at the same time. So this is the impact and the connection that we have with each other on so many levels, and it's all governed by the moon, right? And for me, it was really striking to learn that I only learned about my cycle being connected to the moon in my 20s. I've never heard that before. And I think even that was 20 years ago. It was quite pioneering. So there's definitely all those links of information that have been missing from our society. You want to maybe speak about that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's, back in the days when we were not using artificial light, and, or like you said, even nowadays, if you are in the house with, I remember with my mother or my girlfriends, just not even being in the same house, but being around each other, our cycles sync together. And and if we think about for me, conscious menstruation is another gateway to awakening your womb bliss, and in fact I feel that really was what triggered everything that unfolded for me, because I started practicing conscious menstruation and gifting my moon blood back to the earth. And then in a very magical way, a lot of things, like I mentioned earlier, started magnetizing and coming in my way in order for me to remember and to awaken this wisdom, this blood mystery wisdom and the womb wisdom. So we have to remember that we are cycling, that we are webbing and flowing just like the moon. So I feel that quite often, not only from society, but sometimes even from spiritual practices or different fields in spirituality, it's all about bliss and love and light, right? And that's not realistic, as a woman, we are cycling. Every month we are going through 4 cycles: pre-ovulation, ovulation, menstruation, premenstruation, and menstruation. We are going through the 4 seasons, every 28, 29, 26 days, depending of your cycle. And every month we have the opportunity to release and to let die parts of us or emotions or frequencies that are no longer in alignment with what we are becoming or who we are becoming. So it's so important to attune to this cyclical nature. And if we look at nature itself, she's cycling as well. She's not only blossoming. She's also dying in, you know, and she's also going through this process. So I feel like for me, nature, it's one of the biggest teachers that we can have. And if we commune with her, we commune with the elements, like you said, they're within us and they're also outside of us. So if we commune with the elements, if we pay attention to the moon and we pay attention how it's affecting our cycle, am I menstruating in the new moon or full moon, or am I'm having more vivid dreams or in full moon or new moon, and all of this, it's crucial information for our feminine awakening or for our feminine wisdom. So I don't know if I answer your question, but
yes, I'm very happy that you bring this topic into awareness, because I've also been working with my blood for over 2 decades. It kind of found me when I found the cup and started collecting first for economical and other reasons. I was traveling to India back then, and I thought, oh, that's, you know, just an easy way to manage my menstrual cycle. But slowly using that way of collecting blood had created so much magic in my life. I can do a whole summit on it. I'm so passionate about this topic, because you know, our blood is full of life, and it carries in it so much aliveness, wisdom, potential, and it's been it's been created as a taboo, and it's been kind of pushed to the dark, and to, you know, something that people getting all sorts of reactions to it, whereas it actually sacred and so beautiful. And there's all the prophecy that says that when all women will return their blood into the earth, the men will come back from war, because when they're going to war, they're going for that blood, but they have to kill to get that blood. Whereas our blood is a blood of creation. It's a blood that we can literally brew magic with. And this is what we have been doing in the past. And then, of course, there was that all witch hunt and witchcraft times that we had to stop that. And we've been persecuted for that. So this is definitely wisdom that needs to come back online, and for each woman to realize the sacredness of her cycle, and to notice, because when you notice when in your cycle you have more energy, and when you are more out there, and when you are more introvert, you can really work with that flow, and then you're not going against the flow, then life becomes easier. I often work with that in a way that, you know, if I know that I need to do a lot of writing, then I will do it in introvert space, because I know that this is a brilliant time for me to just cocoon in and get those juices flowing. And other times when I'm more social, this is more time to go out there and meet friends. So it's really beneficial to work with that, right?
Yes. And you know, like gifting your blood to the earth, it's such a powerful and, you know, practice and ritual that I have women that have started this practice, like literally menstruating their cysts. So they had a cyst in you know, the ovary, and after one cycle of actually, you know, really going inwards and you know, doing the work as well of releasing, the next cycle, menstruating the cyst, you know? So from one time of gifting your blood to the earth, and you know, it's really can you hear me? Oh, sorry. It's really like miraculous, you know, how we can really heal any ailments, any problems within the womb. Well, let's not say any problem. Oh, goodness. Sorry. We can heal most of the problems, you know, by just really reconnecting with the blood. and as you said, it has been so distorted at something as something dirty and unclean, and that so many women feel this way when, I mean, it's like, as you said, you know, it's such a alive, like it's full of stem cells. So every woman in this planet who is menstruating every month, it's producing stem cells on her third or fourth day on her cycle. So how could this sacred elixir be dirty or disgusting? So yeah, I definitely recommend. I feel like this is one of the gateways of awakening your womb bliss, is to reconnect with your cycle, to notice when are you, as you said, when you're more productive, when you're more inwards. You know, I mean, not every woman is the same. So often, you know, you might be more inwards pre-menstruation and during menstruation, but everyone is different. Like for me, I feel more full of creative juices when I am menstruating. You know, this is when I'm very alive, and in fact, conscious menstruation can lead to shamanic menstruation, when you actually get, you know, outer states of consciousness when you're menstruating and you receive visions and messages. You know, you can paint with your blood. You can do free bleeding, which is also a very powerful practice, you know, and look at your blood, you know, and you know, on your own timing, because every, you know, there's no push, you know, everyone has their own timing, own divine timing of remembering, but just educating yourself to know that your blood has nothing of dirtiness. In fact, the menstrual blood is the lining of the womb, is what would have become the placenta and will nourish the baby for the 9 moons that it's within our womb. That's what we're menstruating, you know. And it's like, to me, it's a gift from the goddess to us that we are able to go through this death, you know, and rebirth journey every month. And like, I just want to mention that since I was a teenager, I used to have very intense pre-menstruation and cramps during my period, you know, and I used to menstruate for 7 days, you know, and I was the type of person, you know, actually, when I mentioned back when I started my womb journey, when this lady mentioned about my sacral area, you know, that was holding emotions there, I remember my pre-menstruation, I used to get so nervous that I could feel the nerves in my skin. There was so many symptoms. And of course, my mom used to have that as well. And the moment I started practicing conscious menstruation and using the cup and collecting my blood and giving to the earth, you know, it just stopped, in a process to stop. And now when my moon comes, it's so soft and gentle, you know. I feel the tenderness in my womb, but I don't bleed for 7 days anymore. Actually, my cycle got shortened. I do not have the pre-menstruation that I used to have before. So the symptoms, I don't have it anymore. I don't have cramps. From time to time, when there is something very powerful, emotional that it's happening, and there is a very big release, I do get the cramps, but I'm very aware that it is about releasing, you know, that I'm releasing something. But, you know, I mean, I remember the past 5-6 years, I only had 2 times where I actually had very intense cramps. And those were very difficult time for me, where I was processing and releasing a lot of things. So that was the process. So yeah, I mean, there's no need to take pills. There's no need to, you know, yeah, to go into birth control. I mean, the need is to connect, reconnect, and learn ancient practices that can really support us. And in fact, you know, you can, as you said, you can get so much work done if you actually, you know, realize that okay, I'm very productive when I'm ovulating and pre-ovulation, so that's the time for making meetings and writing and producing. And then, you know, when I'm going towards menstruation, that's the time for me to slow down and take time for myself and go inwards, because we are not meant to be constant. You know, this is a patriarchal, very distorted masculine way. We are not, we as women and even men as well, we are not meant to be always constant. No, we are webbing and flowing, you know, and we need to honor that as well. So I know that not for every woman, it's, you know, not every woman will be able to take 2 or 3 days off when they're bleeding, but perhaps you can take 1 day off. Or if you can't take the first day of your bleeding, if you cannot stay home, then perhaps you can slow down and you can do things with more awareness and more being gentle and slow and taking your time, and you can see the difference that that can do it in your life.
Right. I've heard once that PMS stands for please make space. And I think
I love that.
yeah, I think that's very valid because, as you said, we've been programmed to do to go rather than be in the masculine energy, and as women that bleed and need that time to slow down and rest and take care and really sit with the bleeding and nurture. It's very, very important. And I also want to add that I've been holding a lot of women gatherings and red tents in festivals, and we always with no exception bring the bleeding, of course, as a integral subject. And I found so many women that have been grieving because they have not known none of it until very late in their feminine journey, and sometimes even beyond the years of bleeding. And they really had to go through that grieving process of how they actually missed all of that. And we also shared about contraceptives, and I think we all coming from that age. I'm sure that you and me from that generation where we've been fed so many contraceptives to because it was just what was given, and that created so much chaos and mess in the cycle. So this is always topics that create a lot of emotional turbulence for women when we actually share how we all in this together.
Mm, mm. Yes, yes. Yeah, yes, it's a very important subject, and I feel that um yeah, it's so important that, like, I like to think that not everyone in the planet right now, not every woman might be able to embrace this just yet. But as we that are ready, let's call it like this, to embrace, we are setting the frequency, and we're setting the frequency for the generation, for the younger generation. And I have a client here in Egypt, and some time ago we had a session, and I mentioned to her about conscious menstruation. And of course, this is a very delicate subject, you know, in Islam, because yes, just like also in some form of Christianity, probably in Judaism as well, when a woman is bleeding, she's not allowed to pray, she's not allowed to touch the Bible, the Quran, whatever. She's a bit dirty when she's bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about that, and you know, and she mentioned to me how yes, you know, it's something that she's not yet ready to go into it. But interesting enough, in our following session, she shared with me how her daughter friend got her first menstruation and didn't want to share to her mom, because her mom, when her sister got her first menstruation, her mom called everyone, oh, my daughter, you know, my daughter became a woman, and it was, you know, so she was shy, so she didn't want to share with her mom or her sister, so she shared with her best friend, the daughter of my client. And her daughter shared with her. And she told me I was so happy that I was able to speak with these two teenagers and let them know that it's normal, it's a beautiful thing that it's happening, you should honor, you know, I don't remember exactly what she told, but once she told me that, you know, tears came to my eyes, as like, we are remembering, you know, and this woman might, herself might not be ready to go dive in conscious menstruation just yet, but she is ready to share with the young girls that yes, it's a beautiful thing, it's a sacred thing, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm celebrating you that you received your first menarche. So that really touched me. So I like to say that, because as we go into this journey, we are supporting others. We are, you know, the womb is what it's setting the frequency. So individually, the womb of each woman is the setting the frequency around us, regardless if people are understanding consciously or not, but we are setting the frequency through being in the womb and heart. So I like to think this way, that even if there's people that might not understand or might not be ready on a conscious level to embrace this wisdom, but yet the frequency is there, and in their own divine timing, you know, they will remember.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. And yes, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done to the feminine, to the masculine as well, of course. But we are more concentrating on women in this summit, so I'm going to relate to that. And I want to tie this into sexual wounds. And how do you see this connection as a breakthrough, what holds us back from being hurt sexually?
I think because we are not, uh, let's not even say taught, but because we grow up without being in this soft power of the heart and womb, um, that lead us. Well, let me let me see how I can say that. That does not lead us, but that can be a window for sexual wounding. So of course, it, you know, it starts with the fact that yes, sacred pleasure, it's not something that it's taught to us, you know. So it comes back to the beginning of, let's say, not the beginning, but to the myth that, you know, we are as women sinful because Eve ate from the forbidden tree or fruit. So this is embedded in our collective consciousness, and even if I'm not religious, but it's still present there, right? So then we don't learn from a young age that sexuality, it's a natural thing, it's our life force. Then it comes our first menstruation, our menarche, which naturally should be a initiation into womanhood, into, you know, that's when our, biologically speaking, our sexual hormones are going fully online, but yet there is no container for that to be explored, you know. And then of course, because there's no container, we go through, you know, in our teenage years, all sorts of crazy things, and then the wounds take place, and then we have a society that objectify women, you know, and then we end up objectifying ourselves because we're part of that. um, and you know, for me, I remember even before I lost my virginity, I was already a whore for some reason, you know, and so I was somehow persecuted for holding, I call the red flame, you know, like the forbidden aspect of the feminine, that it's something, I guess it's present in my DNA, in my energy field. I'm not sure exactly how to define. And, you know, I could see how I went into hiding a bit, you know, because, yeah, it was not safe to express that. And if I was expressing that, but I mean expressing not by doing, by being, you know, expressing by being who I was. So that was not accepted. So therefore I had to hide that. And then, of course, that led to many things. But going back to what you asked me, I feel that when we are sitting in the throne, in the womb, and connected to the heart, so we have the soft power of the womb, we are able to identify predators. We are able to identify situations that actually are not they're not, that could lead to sexual wounding. I mean, this is a very generalization, because of course every case, there's so many cases when it comes to sexual wounds. But I feel that going to this heart space, this heart womb space can transform. Every case is a case, but returning back to this space, returning back to this womb field, reconnecting to this primordial waters of, the great womb that has birthed all in creation, can transform, and it will transform, the wounds. And yeah.
I love that you said soft power. I can so take it in, because it's power and it doesn't have to be in the masculine form. So by just resting in that throne, as you called it, and really owning or containing, diving into the power that we have innate in us. We don't have to look for it anywhere. We don't have to we have it. We just have to tap into that power. And I love how you said soft power, which is so powerful and yet so gentle at the same time.
Yes, and this is very important, because we want to be in this feminine receptive space. We don't want it's enough of the warrior archetype. There's no need for that. When we rest in the soft power, it's so primordial. The power can be so primordial, and I experience that. I see the situations, how they present themselves to me. And I was someone who was always very I always felt this very intense power inside of me. And as I mentioned before, it was due to my experiences. It was expressed in an aggressive way, and it was really returning to the soft power. So connecting with the heart and the womb, that I can see. It's again hard to put in words, but even the masculine acknowledges that. They see that in a way. They might not have words for it, but they honor that. I remember when I started my womb awakening journey, I was in Egypt. In fact, I was doing a 9-moon apprenticeship while I was in Egypt. And I remember walking, and I remember noticing that men look at me with respect, and sometimes with fear as well, but there was a different respect that was not present before, that I've noticed. And so yeah, it's a very delicate thing, because power, this is why I think the best word is like soft power, because we have to be also aware that there is a shadow into power, and there is also a shadow into the womb wisdom, and I believe that not only I believe, but through my journeys and through the journeys of my colleagues, into the womb field, that it was a time where actually we abused the womb power.
Yes, I know that also. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that there was a reason why this wisdom went underground, and it went hidden, and perhaps also, the blood mysteries as well, because as you said, our blood is it's really powerful, and it can be used for good and bad, so, but right now is the time. Right now, Gaia is supporting us to remember the soft power, and to be aware that this soft power comes with responsibility. But if we play, you know, if we play in the bad side of this power, it will backfire to us, you know. So I'm not so concerned because I'm very aware of that, you know. I'm very aware that it's important that this wisdom is coming out, and if it's misused, it will be revealed, just like everything now it's starting to be revealed, you know. So all the dark things, or all the wounded aspects of our society is starting to slowly being revealed, coming into the light. So it's the same with the womb, the misuse of the womb power. Yeah.
Wow, it's very powerful conversations we have in here, and we are unfortunately heading to the end of our time together. And I know that you have a beautiful gift that you want to share with the audience. You want to maybe tell them what it's about?
Yeah, so this is a transmission for you to connect with your heart and womb and open up to the sacred pleasure of being a woman, and to connect with your womb bliss. So please feel free to sign up to receive that. I also want to mention that starting on 21st of December, we will start possibly 13 moon, or as it starts, a 9 moon pilgrimage into the womb. So an online course where we will journey into each grail gate in a very gentle and with plenty of time to feel and integrate everything that comes up. So I'll be sharing more details soon in my website. So if anyone will be interested in joining that, it's also going to be available. So we're starting on the 21st of December with a descent into the body and descending into the earth. And then in February, we officially start the journey, the pilgrimage into the womb bliss. I'm very excited for that. And yeah, very honored to be here. It feels very powerful to be part of the summit, and to be doing this from Egypt. I had many interesting conversations this time about sexuality here with men, which is very strange. Egyptian men who approach me in a very respectful way, but opening up and sharing about the problems that they face here with women. So it feels that we are grounding something here today by having this conversation. And so I thank you. I see you and I honor you. Thank you for all the work and the effort that you're putting into the summit. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for all the beautiful work that you do in the world and for showing up and sharing so gracefully and so passionately. And I honor you and I send blessings into your journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. And so, ciao. Until the next time we meet. All my love.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.